on with yeah, so we started with limits and we left on with existence of a limit, and when will the limit won't exist. Just wait. Yeah, so on Monday we started with limits and we stopped at the point where we have started understanding about the left hand side of the limit and the right hand side of the limit, and from there we started terming that okay, if a limit does not exist or if a limit exists. Okay, uh, fine, just wait. Okay, so now let's see. Harini, if it is posted, then I will solve it. Don't worry. Okay. If you have posted a doubt on Learnity, I will solve it. But the thing is, yeah. So the thing is that first we have to. I gave you homework, but the thing is that I took a leave yesterday, so we have not done some part of the limits which could be used for you to solve the questions. You know? So I will just extend the homework's due date, so that we'll discuss after the class. So the first thing is that we discussed that for any point for x is equals to a, suppose, and we are discussing around this point, and we are discussing around the point x is equals to a, and we have to know about the limit. So we know that there will be two ways in which I will be reaching x. There will be two ways in which I will be reaching x, that is from right hand side, right side, and from left side, right? So from right side and from left side. So the thing is that we can approach x from a, from right side that is a plus, and from left side that is a minus, and we will call that a limit exists when the right side approaching value or the right hand limit, the right hand approaching value or the right hand limit and the left hand limit and the left hand limit both will be equal. That means the function is approaching x is equals to a from right hand side and left hand side to the same point, to the same limiting value. That is, the limit exists, the limit exists when this condition happens, when left hand limit is equals to right hand limit is equals to L. This L we'll call it as a limiting value, limiting value, right? Okay, yeah. So now the thing is that we now know that okay, the left hand limit and right hand limit exist, and we will call it a limiting value, and when they are equal, then we'll say that limit exists, right? Now what could be the conditions where we will say that okay, limit does not exist? So the conditions where limit does not exist, so we can categorize this into three different main parts. First condition can be that the limits, either left hand limit or right hand limit does not exist, does not exist. Okay, for this one the most classic example will be, so for this one the classic example can be, suppose we have limit of x tending to pi by 2, of limit x tending to pi by 2 tan of x, right? Now see, and we know that tan of x is a function something like this, right? And this is, suppose x is equals to pi by 2, right? And afterwards we have like this. So when x tends to pi by 2, the tan x approaches infinity. Okay, so left hand limit will be approaching plus infinity, and right hand limit will be approaching minus infinity. That is, this is the classic example that limit does not exist. Okay, so in this case, in this particular case, we have that left hand limit and right hand limit both does not exist, right? In the case both does not exist, that means we will call this as a where limit does not exist. In this case, we can also say that only one side, even if either left hand limit or right hand limit, any one of them was non-existing. If any one of them was non-existing, then also we would have said that limit does not exist, because any of the left hand limit or right hand limit does not exist. Okay. Now next part of this is, so this was when limit does not exist, right? The second part can be, by we have seen that, okay, if limit exists also, but they are not equal, as in the case of greatest integer of x, you know. So second part will be that limits LHL and RHL, both the limit exists but are not equal. Okay, so in this case, for example, suppose in this case, if we have an example of a greatest integer of sine x, if we have a greatest integer of x, in that case we can see, so suppose we have sine of, if we have limit of x tending to any integer and we have greatest integer of x. So in this, in this case, greatest integer x is the function, and suppose if I draw the function will be something like this, right? Suppose this is x is equals to 1. This is x is equals to 1. Now for this one, we know that right hand limit, when right hand limit, that is limit of x tending to 1 plus greatest integer of x, will be becoming 1. So we'll simply substitute a 1 plus. So this is greatest integer of 1 plus. So this will be simply 1, right? Right hand limit exists. This is 1. By this is existing limit. This is 1. Now see, left hand limit, if I'll find, so limit of x tending to 1 minus, if I'll substitute in x, so if I'll simply substitute 1 minus, we'll see this will become 0. By this left hand limit also exists, right? But we know that right hand limit is not equals to left hand limit. That means the limit does not exist. That means from right hand side and left hand side, both the functions, both the limits are not, or the function is not approaching the same value. From right hand side, the function is approaching 1, but from the left hand side, the function is approaching 0. So that means the right hand limit and left hand limit are not equal, or the function is approaching different values from right hand side and left hand side. That means we'll call this as limit does not exist. Okay, I hope these 2 points are very clear. These 2 points are very simple. First point was limit does not exist at all. That means limit is approaching suppose infinity, and any part, left hand or right, left or right. Okay, now first point was limit left hand or right hand does not exist. That means either approaching infinity or does not exist at all. Okay, second part is that limit exists, both limit exists. Left hand side will be a value, right hand side will be a value. Suppose in this case, right hand side is 1, left hand side is 0. Both are real values. But the thing is, they are not equal. So if they are not equal, again we will call it as limit does not exist, because left hand side and right hand side are not equal. Third very important, for third very peculiar case is that limit, the third case will be when the function around a point around the point fluctuates a lot. Okay, or it is you can just say fluctuates a lot. Okay, I'll give an example. Suppose if somebody is saying limit of x tending to 0, sine of 1 by x, right? Limit of x tending to 0, sine of 1 by x, right? Or even if we'll try to find the function sine of 1 by x. Okay, if we'll try to plot the function of sine of 1 by x, right? So see, one thing is very sure, that as x tends to infinity, this sine will be 1 by x. So sine will be 1 by infinity, so this will become sine of 1 by infinity, which is tending to 0. So that means as x tends to infinity, sine function will tend to almost 0, right? So this will become almost 0, but not equal to 0, but yeah, very much close to 0. As we know that x tending to minus infinity, again sine of 1 by minus infinity will tend to sine of minus almost 0. This will tend to sine of 0 minus, we can say. That means from left side it will again tend to reach 0, but from the negative side. Fine. This part I hope everybody is okay with. By on the right side it will approach 0, but from the positive side, and the left side it will approach 0 from the negative side. Well, let me drop with some other color. Like this on the right side, like this on the left side, right? But now see, yeah, but now see what happens when x is approaching 0. What happens when x is approaching 0? When x approaches 0, when x approaches 0, when x approaches 0, 1 by x approaches infinity. 1 by x approaches infinity, right? That means sine of something, sine of some value, by when x approaches 0, this whole thing will take some value, but sine of that value we are not sure what value it will take. So as x approaches 0, as x approaches 0, this sine function will keep on fluctuating with around 0, with not sure whether it will take +1. So this is the line, suppose this is the line +1 and this is the line -1. Okay, so the sign will keep on fluctuating, and as we move closer and closer to 0, as we move closer and closer to 0, it will keep on fluctuating even further. So that means around 0, around this limit x is equal to 0, we are not aware of what value sine 1 by x will take. However, we know that even this limit, that limit of x tending to 0, sine of 1 by x will be less than or equals to 1 and greater than equals to -1, right? But this will fluctuate a lot because we are not sure about the value. Understood? Yeah, it will, no, you cannot say that from where the fluctuation will start. As you keep on closing near and near to 0, the fluctuation will keep on increasing. And so first thing is it will gradually move from 0 to 1, and then it will move to minus, and then plus, and then minus, and it will keep on fluctuating and keep on fluctuating more and more and more. Understood? So this is the third case where the limit does not exist. So I hope all the three cases are okay. Okay, so first case was limit does not exist at all. Left hand side and right hand side does not exist. Either one of them does not exist. Second point was that limits right hand side and left hand side exist, but they are not equal. Third case is that you cannot find the value, because the limit, it will have a value, but it is fluctuating a lot. We know that it will have a value. We know for a certain point it will have a certain value, and limited also. It will have a limited value. But see, in 10x case, what was the problem? That we do not know what value, it is moving up to infinity. We do not know where it will stop, right? But here we know where it will stop. It will stop at 1. We know where it will stop. It will stop at 1, but we do not know what value it will take. Understood? So these are the three classic cases where the limit does not exist. I hope till here everything is fine. Okay. Now see, after this, the first point where we'll start actually determining the different forms of limit which we can find will be, now we will start. We'll start now solving questions, and we'll now see different forms of limit. But before that, the first is indeterminate form of limit. We have 7 indeterminate forms of limit. We have 7 very standard indeterminate forms. Okay, these are the 7 indeterminate form where 0 by 0 and infinity by infinity are the most commonly used form of indeterminate form. Okay, and these other forms are derivative of this. That means you can derive these other forms using these two. Okay, now what does indeterminate form means? See, we have in a question, so first I will talk about this one. Rest all can be derived from this. So first we can see indeterminate form. You can also say that this is indecisive form or confusing form also. Confusing form. What do I mean by indecisive or confusing form? Just a name given by me, that indecisive or confusing form. What does it actually means? Suppose you have limit of x tending to 0 x square minus 1 divided by x minus 1. This case we have already seen, है ना? This case we have already seen. Now see, if I will take x is equals to 0, if I will take x is equals to 0, suppose this is f of x, so f of 0 will become 0 by 0 form. F of 0 will become 0 by 0 form. But if we will look at this point only, if we will look at 0, if we will look at x is equal to 0, we know that it is indeterminate. It means this is undefined, है ना? So it seems to us that okay, around this point limit should also be undefined, or maybe the point around this point also the function will be undefined. But when we actually calculate the function, when we actually calculate the limit of the function around 1, so what we can do, f of x we can write as x minus 1 into x plus 1 divided by x minus 1, right? Now for a very smaller value of x, we know this can be cancelled out. So basically for f limit of x tending to 0, f of x will become 1, है ना? Yes. So that means indecisive means previously we thought that at point 0 by function is 0 by 0. At point 0 we thought that function is 0 by 0. So we got confused a little bit that okay, maybe that around this point also by limit can be undecisive, है ना? So we thought that okay, maybe limit may be undecisive. But when we actually calculated the limit, we came to know that okay, around this point the limit is coming out to be 1. Only just at that point the function is undefined. Understood? अरे है ना? Sorry, this is 1. This is 1. This is 1. X is equals to 1. For x is equals to 1, for x is equals to 1, this is 1 by 1, 0 by 0. Sorry, for x is equals to 1. Okay, so this is x at x is equals to 1. Yeah, when we are substituting x is equals to 1, we thought that okay, the function will be 0 by 0. But when we actually calculated the limit at x is equals to 1, we got it equals to 2. Yes. Understood? Fine. So this is what is called as undecisive or indeterminate form. That function is not defined at that point, but we can actually find the limit. But we can actually find the limit. Understood? So all the remaining forms can be taken as this form only. All the remaining forms can be converted to this form. Each of these remaining forms we will see in a separate question. Each of these forms we will see in these separate questions. Okay, so first you just write down these indeterminate form first. First you write down these indeterminate forms. Okay, just write down these indeterminate form. We have 7, 1, 2, 3. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just copy these 7. Just copy these 7 first. Okay. हाँ बच्चे, each and every form, each indeterminate form has been derived from 0 by 0 only. Each indeterminate form has been derived from 0 by 0 only by taking exponential, logarithmic. So let's talk about the second one. From 0 by 0, I can also say 1 by 0 upon 1 by 0. By this 1 by 0, I can take this 1 by 0. So this is infinite by infinite form, right? Now look at the second case. Infinite by infinite, this we can write infinite into 1 by infinity. This I can write infinity into 0. So all the forms are converted from the first form. So the most important of the parent form is 0 by 0 form. From that form, all the other forms have been taken by taking for some of the function log. For some other function, we have taken log. For some other function, we have taken in exponent. We will see it afterwards. And once we have started doing questions, you will understand. Understood? Fine. Okay. Now see. Yeah. So these were indeterminate form. Now see, if you will see some forms like this, 0 or some forms like this, 0 by infinity. What do you think? This is indeterminate form, or is this will have a particular value? Is this indeterminate form or a particular value? Is this an indeterminate form? This is the first form, yes. What is the value? What should be the value? Is this a value or is this an indeterminate form? Think about it. Okay, see, how can we say this is not an indeterminate form? Because by the previously it was previously it was 0 by 0, है ना? Previously it was 0 by 0, but if numerator is almost 0 and denominator is tending to infinity, so this whole thing will always tend to 0 or not, है ना? By this will always tend to 0 or not. So this is not indeterminate form. This is a determinate form. This has a value 0. By everybody understood? Fine, very good. Previous case we had 0, infinity, minus infinity. Previously we had infinity minus infinity. Suppose I will have infinity plus infinity. Tell me, is this a value? Is this an indeterminate form, or what is this? Can we find the limit of this, or what can we say about this? Infinity plus infinity. Previously we had infinity minus infinity. What is this? Is this a determinate form? Yes. By previously what we had, very large number minus a very large number. We had very large number minus a very large number. So we were calling it that maybe we can get a limit out of it. We can get a value out of it. But this is infinity plus infinity. So this is not an indeterminate form. This will give you a number which is tending to infinity. This is not an indeterminate form. This will give you infinity only. Something very large added with something very large cannot give you a particular value. This will always be infinity. This will be a very large number. Understood? By this everybody understood? A very large number. Bacche, see, suppose 10, I'm saying 10 to the power 10 plus 10 to the power 10 will give you a large number or not? Will give you a large number or not? But suppose 10 to the power 10 minus 10 to the power 10 will give you 0, right? Suppose if I'm saying 10 to the power x minus, suppose 10 to the power x, okay? So when a limit of even x is tending to infinity, even x is tending to infinity. So this will be infinity, this will be infinity, this will become 0. Limit is 0. But suppose 10 is to power x plus 10 is to power x at x, limit of x tending to infinity. This is infinity, this is infinity. So this will always tend to infinity. Understood? Right? So addition will always give you a large number. Fine. This is okay. Okay, now suppose you have 0 to the power infinity. What will be this? Is this indeterminate form or determinate form? See, previously we had infinity to the power 0 and 0 to the power 0. Suppose you have 0 to the power infinity. This is determinate form or indeterminate form? Think about it. Yes. Anything closer to 0. Anything closer to 0. If I will take a very large power of that, it will always become 0. 0.1 to the power x, and x is tending to infinity. This will be almost equal to 0. No other number, no other value. It will always, yes, because its value is almost 0, right? So some of these forms you might see in the questions. Some of these forms you might see in the question, but remember, only these are the indeterminate form. But one thing is that do not try to mug up the indeterminate forms, है ना? Once we'll start doing questions, you will understand what will be the answer. Once you have started doing questions, it will be very easy. Limit is the very basic, very easy chapter. We'll do step by step and we'll take ample amount of time, because limit is the base of all the calculus, है ना? Now one of you was asking that what is the practical use of finding limits? What is the practical use of finding limits? है ना? What is the practical use? Why we are actually using limits? So first thing was, I told you the limit is basically looking at the neighborhood. So this is your house and this is neighborhood, right? Before going to buy a house, you will always look at the neighborhood. So limit is finding what is actually the neighborhood of the function. What is the neighborhood of the function? Then we will talk about this point. If we have now seen this point, if we have talked about neighborhood, so we can talk about the derivative around that point, right? So this is the basic, this is the first step towards the derivative, towards the differentiation, and then we have moved toward differentiation, we can move towards integration also. By unless and until you do not know what is happening around that point, you cannot talk about differentiation. So limit limit gives a way, or limit is a parent to continuity. Limit is a parent, or limit gives a way to continuity, then continuity gives a way to differentiability, and then differentiability gives a way to integration and integrability. Understood? Fine. Okay. If we get indeterminate form, nahi bache, there will be methods to find the actual values of we can find the actual values of these indeterminate form. We can find the actual values of indeterminate form. Sir, then anything to the power 0 is 1. Sir, then anything to the power zero is 1. Then why? Who said anything to the power 0 is 1? Who said anything to the 0 to the power 2 is what? 1? What are you talking about, Lakshmi? What are you talking about? Anything to the power, anything to the power 0. Nahi, why is it 1? Why is it 1? How can you say 0 to the power 2? Is it 1? How can you say? But 0 to the power and anything is 0. No, I'm not saying this is equals to 1. Who said it is equals to 1? Don't just make things. Don't just think about that. Okay. Understood? Fine. Okay. Now see. Okay. Fine. See, this is 0. This is okay. See, this is not exact. Remember, we are not talking about exact 0 by 0. We remember in these all forms, we are not talking about exact 0 by 0. Okay, we are talking about thing approaching to 0. We are talking about this thing approaching to 0. We are talking about this is approaching to 0. We are talking about this is 1 by approaching to 0. We are not talking about exact 0. This is approaching to 0 to the power 0. This is approaching 0 to the power approaching 0. Now this 0 can be from positive side, can be from negative side also. This 0 can be from positive side, can be from negative side also. Understood? Approaching will make a lot of difference. Understood? Infinity to the power 0. 0 is approaching from positive side or 0 is approaching from negative side. By see, remember these are all values approaching. See, infinity to the power 0. Don't think that infinity to the power 0 will become 1. Why? Why infinity to the power 0 won't? Why I cannot say it 1? Because see, this 0 can approach from positive side, or this 0 can approach from negative side. Right? This infinity is 1 by 0 approaching from positive side or 1 by 0 from negative side. Understood? This will give you different answers for different kind of questions. But no matter here, for no matter 0 is approaching from positive side or negative side, anything 0 to the power infinity will always give you 0. Because anything 0 approaching from positive or negative will always give you a smaller and smaller and smaller value. I hope this is understood. These are different forms. Indeterminate form are special forms in which you can actually find the value of a limit. You can actually find the value of a limit. But this after only finding out, after only looking at the question, we can say. Understood? Okay. I'm not saying that all indeterminate form will have a limit. All indeterminate form might not have a limit. For example, suppose I can take an example of f of x as x square minus 1 into x minus 1 divided by x minus 1. Divided by x minus 1. Suppose if this is the function, right? So we have f of 1 will be 0 by 0 form, right? F of 1 will be 0 by 0 form. But what will, so if even if I'll factorize this as x minus 1 upon x plus 1, right? This gets cancelled. Even now it is x plus 1 upon x minus 1. Even now the function does not have any limit. So do not think that this will always have a limit. Do not think that this will always have a limit, but it might have a limit by looking at by solving the question. It might have a limit. That is why it is called as indeterminate. We do not know. We have to solve it and we have to find. We do not know whether the function will have a limit or not. We have to solve the question and find. I hope this is okay. I hope till now indeterminate forms are okay and not indeterminate forms are also okay. Why we are calling them not indeterminate and why we are calling them as indeterminate? But is it okay? Yes. Okay, fine. Very good. Okay, so now let's start solving some question. Okay, so first thing is that algebra of limit. This is a very simple concept, very simple concept. So simply just by it has some very basic properties. By limit has some very basic properties that if two functions are added, we can separate the limit. Okay, so suppose algebra of limit is basically some few points. That suppose limit of x tending to c or x tending to a, f of x plus g of x. Okay, if this is given, then we can simply write very basic thing. Do not have to apply too much of brain. Then this plus or minus, and we can simply write limit of x tending to a, f of x plus minus limit of x tending to a, g of x. Okay, so we can separate. Very simple thing. Second is limit of x tending to a, f of x into g of x. Okay, so we can simply write it as limit of x tending to a, f of x into limit of x tending to a, g of x, given that both limit exist, given that both limit exists. Fine. Third is limit of x tending to a. Similarly, now we have multiplied, we will divide also. F of x divided by g of x. We can write this as limit of x tending to a, f of x divided by limit of x tending to a, g of x, right? Given that limit of x tending to a, g of x is not equal to 0. Fine. Very simple basic thing, normal algebra stuff which we have already seen many times. Now fourth is if limit of x tending to a, constant k is multiplied with f of x, then simply k will come outside. So this is k into limit of x tending to a, f of x. Right. Similarly with division also, and similarly with suppose fifth is limit of composite function x tending to a, f of g of x. So we can simply write it limit of, sorry, we can simply write this as f of limit of x tending to a, g of x. Right. Simple basic stuff. Okay. Fine. Just copy. You do not have to copy this one. Just understand that if we have some two functions added up, then we can simply separate them. If we have two functions multiplied, we can separate them. We can separate them as two different limits, but the limit of both should exist individually. Hai na? If we have division, then we can separate the limits divided, given that g of x should not be equal to 0. Constant will come outside. Constant will come outside, and if you have composite function, the limit will go inside. Simple stuff. Basically, you have done this thing, so we do not have to worry about this at all. Fine. This you guys are very intelligent. This you guys can easily manipulate. Okay. So this is very simple stuff. Next. Now the method of calculating limit basically. So method of calculating. Bache in. Okay. 1 to the power infinity, this infinity we can also write as 1 to the power 1 by 0 plus or 0 minus. So here we have to check. Here we have to check. Understood? Fine. That is why. So 1 to the power, why this 0 is coming. Okay. Yeah. So, okay, just check this one if you want to copy. However, there is no point of copying. I will be distributing this, this thing. No, first one, yeah, obviously both have to exist. By limit should be existing. Limit has to be exist, but denominator cannot be 0. Okay, you can, if you want to write this, you can write limit extend to 0 and both should exist. Should exist, but gx should not be equal to 0. That's it. Okay. Fine. I hope this one is okay. This is very simple. Now see, now the thing comes in which we will have our hands dirty and we will start solving problems in limits, right? First thing is that we'll see. First is normal, how to solve limits. How to solve limits. So basically there are 4 or 5 different methods. I have just separated them all. First is by normal substitution, which everybody loves because these kind of limit questions are very easy. So you will rarely see you will rarely see these questions asked to you anywhere. Second is factorization and rationalization. This is a good question. This will form a good question in which you have to rationalize, which we have seen in your homework. Many of the questions were based on factorization and rationalization. Next, we have these two forms which we'll discuss in detail. We have standard expansion. Standard expansion, I will first explain what does it mean by expansion. And then we have used some limits for some standard function. We see some standard limits altogether, which we have to mug up. Mug up means you just have to see and you have to understand. Last is this L'Hopital's rule. Last is this L'Hopital's rule. Now, my recommendation for you is, because most of you will do what? You will first see this L'Hopital's rule. You will Google it. Okay, Arey, sir has said not to use L'Hopital's rule. Let's see what is this. You will Google it. You will see, Arey, this is very simple form. D by dx of the numerator and d by dx of the denominator. And our life is simple. Simple life. And then done. Question will be solved. Remember this thing. If in JEE a question comes in advance or means, whatever it is, in advance especially, and means you can have a question based on L'Hopital's rule, but in advance a question comes, and they will never ask you question which can be easily differentiated. They will ask a question in which if you'll start differentiating using L'Hopital's rule, numerator and denominator, your life will keep on getting miserable and miserable. Okay, so that means L'Hopital's rule should be the last resort for you to solve any limit question, unless and until it is unsolvable for you. Without using L'Hopital's rule, you have to, then you can use, because L'Hopital's rule is one of the most complicated and one of the trickiest thing which they will use. In exam, they will give you a question in which L'Hopital's rule cannot be applied. If you start differentiating, it will be differentiation of infinite terms. This is not the priority. This is just a way we will see. So first, what we'll see by normal substitution. So first thing is normal substitution means that simply substituting the values. You will see what is the limit. So the simplest example is, suppose you have got limit of x tending to 1 by 2 and function is suppose greatest integer of x. So what will be the value? Limit x tending to 1 by 2 greatest integer x. What will be the value? So this is simple substitution. What will be the value? Value will be 1. Very good. What will the value? By simply substituting x tending to 1 by 2. There is nothing to be divided. This is not indeterminate form. Simply greatest in 1 by 2 will be either plus or minus. Either it is plus or minus. This will always give you 0. It always give you 0. Okay. Now next is, suppose limit of x tending to 1. Limit of x tending to 1 greatest integer x. Tell me what will be the value? What will be the value? Limit of x tending to 1. 1. Yes. Okay. So let's see. Greatest integer of 1 plus and greatest integer of 1 minus. This will give you 1. This will give you 0. So does the limit exist or not? That means for this one, limit does not exist. Simple question. The limit does not exist. Suppose we have limit of x tending to pi by 4 tan of x. Tell me what will be the value? Limit x tending to pi by 4 tan of x. What will be the value? Limit x tending to pi by 4. So tan of, simply substituting, tan of pi by 4 minus and tan of pi by 4 plus, both will give you approximately 1. Both will give you approximately 1. So both will give you approximately 1. So that means the value of this limit is simply 1. Understood, Saran? Saran, just check where you have made mistake. Lakshmi, just check why it is does not exist. It will exist. Both will be 1. Both value will be 1. Just little more than 1. This little less than 1. Both will exist. Just check this. Yes or no? This will exist or not? Yes. Okay. Now some tricky questions. We simply have to substitute the values. Now tell me what will be the value of limit of x tending to 0 minus sine of x divided by x. Now tell me what will be the limit of this function. One. Okay, many of you are saying one, some of you are saying sine one, some of you are saying 1 by 0, some of you are saying sine 0, 0, sine 1. Okay, so I'm saying this is a classic example of substituting the values. This is a classic example of substituting the values. Now first tell me what is the value of 0 minus fractional part of 0 minus. What is the value of fractional part of 0 minus? What is the value of fractional part of 0 minus? No, Anirudh, it is wrong. Vishnu, it is wrong. 0.99, it is not correct. What is the value of 0 minus? It is minus 1. 0 minus means minus 0.00000001, right? Anything which is negative and less than 1. So this will be minus 1, right? Very small negative 1 value. Very small negative 1 value. So what we will do, we'll simply substitute, because this will not become 0. This will not become 0. So this is simply substitution. So when we'll substitute, we'll put the value of 0 minus here, 0 minus here. So we'll have sine of 0 minus, and we'll have denominator also 0. Sorry, we'll have 0 minus, right? This will become sine of minus 1 divided by minus 1. So this becomes minus of sine of 1. This becomes minus 1, where this will become value positive. This is sine of 1. This is not degree. This is in radian. Remember, this is in radian, not in degree. By this, everybody understood? Yes, it is fractional part. Greatest integer is like this. This is the fractional part. Greatest integer is this fractional part. Understood? Everybody understood? Okay, everybody understood this part? Very good. Let's see one more question based on this. So suppose you have now limit of x tending to 1 sine of sine of x divided by greatest integer x. Now tell me what is the value of this. In fractional part, how did we, for this one, is there okay, listen, one thing. Is there any doubt in this question? Is there any doubt in this question for anyone? Is there any doubt in this question? Do not write yes, just okay. Which part you have doubt, Subiksha? Do not write no, just write the doubt. If you have any doubt, just write. Fractional part of 0 minus. Are fractional part of 0 minus is what? What is 0 minus? If you remember, 0 minus was when I am coming from, I am approaching 0 from left side. 0 minus means from left side. Fractional part of when I'm coming from left side is what? Fractional part of 0 minus. That means minus of 0.0001. Approximately. This will be minus 1. Fractional part of 0 minus is exactly minus 1. Exactly minus 1, right? So this will become minus 1, sine of minus 1 divided by minus 1. Sine of minus 1 minus I can take outside because sine is an odd function, right? This will come outside. This is outside. So 1 and 1 becomes 1. So sine of 1 is 1. Simple. Yes. Srinidhi, we will get plus 1. Yeah. No, sine of 1. Sine of y we will get plus 1. We will get 1. 1 is not in degree. 1 is radian. 1 is radian. Sine of 1 is not 1. Sine of 1 is in radian. Remember, this is in radian. This is not 1. Answer is not 1. Okay. Everybody understood? See. Okay. Look. See. By oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. My bad. Okay. Yeah, I made a mistake. See, this is sorry. Greatest in sorry. This is not 1. This is plus 1. Yeah, this is plus 1. Sorry, plus 1. See what is happening. Yeah, this is plus 1. plus 1. Yeah, this is plus 1. See, greatest fractional part of 0 minus will be approximately 0.9999. Yeah, correct, correct, correct. This is almost 1, almost 1. Yes. And for sine of plus 1 also this will be almost 1. Yes, yes, correct, correct, correct. Yes, yes, correct, correct, correct. So this is sine of approximately equal to 1. This is sine of approximately equals to 1 divided by 0.01. Yes, yes, correct, correct, correct. Okay. This everybody understood? I made a mistake. This is 0. This is not minus 1. This is plus 1. Yes, correct. Understood? Now is it clear? Should I explain once again? Should I explain once again? Yeah, okay, okay. See, I made a mistake here. I wrote minus 1. I will write it once again. I will write it once again. Don't worry. So see, fractional part of 0 minus, fractional part of 0 minus by 0 minus is, I can write as minus of 0.00001, right? So the fractional part of this will become 0.999999 and so on, right? Very close to 0 minus, the fractional part will become almost equals to 1. This will be almost equals to 1, right? So this is almost 0.9999 divided by sine of 0.9999, right? So this numerator will almost become equals to sine of 1, because 0.9999 I can write as 1, and denominator 0.9999 I can write also 1. So that is why this will become sine of 1. Sine of 1. Okay, fine, understood? Yeah, I made a mistake. I wrote here minus. That was my mistake. Sorry. Okay, I hope this is okay. Yes. Okay. Now suppose, okay, the previously, yeah, so suppose we had limit of x tending to 0 minus sine of greatest integer x divided by greatest integer x. Now what will be the answer? Now what will be the answer? If we have sine of greatest integer x divided by greatest integer x. Now tell me what will be the answer? Think about it. Think about it. I have already told you the answer previously. Yes, very good. Now what we can say that this was previously I was giving answer for this one. So what we can do, sine of greatest integer of 0 minus divided by greatest integer of 0 minus, right? So this will become sine of, by 0 minus greatest integer is what? Minus 1 divided by 0 minus is again minus 1. Now it is correct. 0 minus greatest integer is minus 1. This minus 1 I can take outside, minus of sine 1 divided by minus 1. So this comes sine 1. Very good, very good. Yeah, I made a mistake. I was talking about this part. Okay, I hope this is okay. Fine. Okay, I hope now these two concepts are okay. Fine. Both will give you a sine of 1. Understood? Fine. Very good, very good. Okay. Now let's talk about this one. Now let's talk about this one. Yeah. Now let's talk about this one. Limit of x tending to 1, sine of greatest integer x divided by greatest integer x. Tell me what will be the value of this one. So will the limit exist or not? See, the one difference between this question, and the two questions I asked in one difference between this question and the question, these two questions is, I'm only talking about 0 minus. I'm not talking about 0 plus. See, for this one, I'm only talking about 0 minus. Here also I'm talking about 0 minus. But in this question, I'm talking about both left hand side and right hand side. So first let's take 1 minus and then we will take 1 plus. So 1 minus, if I'll simply substitute, so this will become sine of 1 minus greatest integer 1 minus upon greatest integer of 1 minus, right? Greatest integer of 1 minus is exactly 0. Greatest integer of 1 minus is exactly 0. This is also exactly 0. So left hand limit does not exist. Does not exist. Yeah, it is not approaching 0. Remember, this is not approaching 0. This is exactly 0. Remember this. Okay, this part 1 plus is what? So we will have sine of 1 plus is simply 1 upon 1. So this will become sine 1. Okay, this will become sine 1. But this is not approaching 0. This 0 by 0 is exactly not defined, because these 0 are exact zeros. Greatest integer of 1 minus is exact 0, not approaching 0. Understood? So we'll have exact 0 upon 0. So it will be undefined. Okay, I hope this part is okay for everyone. This question is okay for everyone? Fine, very good. Okay, so this was the question. This was the kind of question where you will simply directly substitute the values. Well, you will substitute the values and you will get the answer. Okay, so substitution, I hope you understood. है ना? Substitution we will do directly when there is nothing to factorize or there is nothing to overlook. है ना? You just substitute and you will find the values. Okay. Now, one more very important concept. One more very important. Okay, just we'll discuss that afterwards. Okay. So now the thing is, yeah. So fun question is like this, where this question was given in your workbooks. In this question, there was some error that they are asking for limit x tending to 1. Limit of x tending to 1. So you have to find limit exists or not. Limit x tending to 1, you have to find limit exists or not. Or if they have get exists and it is equals to 1, you have to find where it exists and equals to 1. So I hope everybody must have solved this one. Simple substitution case, limit of x tending to 1 plus. For 1 plus we will take this function. For 1 plus we will take this function. So this is 4 into 1 plus whole cube minus 3 into 1 plus. So this is 4 minus 3. This is 1, right? And 1 minus. So this is 5 into 1 minus 4. Because 1 minus will be in this case. So this is also 1. So for right hand side and left hand side will be both 1. Simple case of substitution. Hai na? Very good. Now, next kind of limits will be where first page have most of the question on this factorization and rationalization. We all know what are factorization and rationalization. We have already seen questions in which when we factorized x square minus 1 on x minus 1. So we will factorize this x minus 1, x plus 1 divided by x minus 1, where these part will get cancelled and we'll have some answer like x plus 1, limit of x tending to 1. Hai na? So we have already seen these questions. Okay, so now we'll simply directly start solving the question. So this question is based on factorization or rationalization. So I think everybody must have solved this one. This is an example. So when x tending to 0, sorry, when h tending to 0, yes, yeah, Jafran, I will discuss that in the just 5 minutes. Just wait. So when h tending to 0, this will become under the root of x plus 0 minus under the root of x upon 0. So at x is equal to 0. So this will be 0 by 0 form. This is 0 by 0 form. So that means if this is 0 by 0 form, that means it is indeterminate form. Indeterminate form, that means it is not conclusive that the limit will also be like this. So we have to find it. So what I will do, I will try to rationalize this because this is 0. So I will try to rationalize this. So let's see if I'll rationalizing. That means h plus h minus root x upon h into root x plus h plus root x divided by root of x plus h plus root of x. Right now, this will become root x. This will become this square minus this. So this is x plus h minus x divided by h into root of x plus h plus root of x. This x and x gets cancelled. This h and x gets cancelled. For h tending to 0, this will 1 by 2 root h. Right? Simple as that. And you just have to rationalize. Now remember how to know whether it is rationalization or not. If it is indeterminate form, and if you see some roots, if you'll see some roots in the numerator or in the denominator, try to think of one way that, okay, one of the way can be by rationalizing. One of the way can be by rationalizing. Okay, simple as that. If you see root, try to think of that in terms of rationalization. Okay, let's see the next question. So the next question is this. Okay, this you also must have done. Yes, this you also must have done. This is simply the factors of numerator. The factors of numerator will be, so limit of x tending to 1. This will be x minus 2 into x minus 1 divided by x minus 1. So this will get cancelled. So simply, yes. So this will be 1 minus 2. So the limit will be minus 1. Yes, very good. So this is also simple. This one. Now see, in this case also, in this we have 1 into n, 2 into n minus 1, 3 into n minus 2, and so on. Right? This one also you must have done. We can solve this using sequence and series. In denominator, we have sum of squares of first and natural numbers. So what is the sum of first and natural numbers? Square of first and natural numbers? N into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 divided by 6. By this will give you this, right? So in denominator, you have the factor of n cube. You will have n cube. you will have n cube. Okay, in numerator also, if you'll check it, in numerator also you will have a factor of n cube. Okay, so from there you can solve. Okay, so the remaining questions we will solve in the next class. Yeah, as for the homework, so the homework, still homework is same, homework is still same, but the due date, so today is Wednesday, so today is Wednesday, Thursday, so I will take the first page as homework. So till Friday till 5 p.m, till Friday 5 p.m, I will take the homework for the this first page, and then after that I will give you homework for the remaining page, है ना? So the homework for Friday 5 p.m, only 35 students, only 35 students for KNMS, and only 34 students from all other schools have actually submitted the exam, submitted the this thing, the homework. Okay, whatever they have done. Okay, so please, I'm telling you once again, I will start giving, I have to make a marks list for all of you who are solving homework. Also, I noticed one thing, that from KNMS, only 60 students wrote the exam. Only 60 students wrote the exam. Out of that, I think Srivatsan was not there. I think this Ranjit, I did not see any Ranjit writing the exam. Srivatsan did not wrote the exam. I think Mukundan did not wrote the exam. These were the few names which I actually saw. You wrote, okay, fine. So Ranjit and also this Mukundan, okay, if you wrote, I do not see the, okay. So please do not skip the exam. I know you are at home, you feeling relaxed, and you do not care about the world, that okay, this the corona thing and all, so you do not care. I know, I can understand, but you have to write the exam, because after corona people will again start calculating how much marks you are getting, है ना? In corona nobody cares, because everybody is struggling for their lives. But after corona, people will start judging you basis on your marks. So please do not miss your exams, do not miss your class. Before 10 minutes, if you're leaving the class, that will not give you anything. Before 10 minutes, 40 or 50 students are leaving the class. Okay, so just so this is the limit and continue. I've shared with you this PDF. Please download it. Okay, if you have not got, send me the message, I will share with you. And Friday till 5 p.m, Friday 5 p.m is the last where I will take up the homework. That is the last point. Okay, so till Friday 5 p.m we'll discuss all the parts, all the solving. Okay, okay, fine. Okay, yeah, I'm waiting, don't worry. Last week's good score was anything above 70. Anything above 70, anything above 80 is a very good score for last exam. The exam was very simple, I gave you very simple exam. Anything above 70 was good score. If you are getting 60, I don't know why Shivatsan got highest marks in the last exam and then lowest marks in the next. So anything above 70 is a good marks. Okay, okay, take care all of you, and please solve the questions. We will do the remaining part, how to solve the limit question, in the next class, है ना? Till Friday we will finish, and then we will do some harder questions. Okay, chalo, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, students.